It's Lord of O.R.D, the 14 digital shaman, and part 3 of Dark Psychology 202, the advanced secrets of psychological warfare, dark NLP, dark cognitive behavioral therapy, super manipulation, kamikaze mind control, stealth, persuasion, and human psychology by Michael Page. And it is dark, but as I say, it's good to be reminded of what you are dealing with at the bare minimum. Don't recommend you doing this stuff to other people, but this is what's being done to you in many different ways, and many different whether it's disciplines, and whether it's religion, politics, the military, mainstream media, the oligarchs, and what they're doing to you, and what you're doing to each other. Chapter 6, fly into their minds with kamikaze mind control. Kamikaze mind control is a way to fly straight into someone's mind, creating the havoc that you desire. You can brainwash someone and gain complete control over his mind relatively easily. You can plant ideas into someone's head to direct them to do what you desire. You can do all of this so sneakily that you can never get caught. Blowing your cover can jeopardize the entire mind control mission, so you have to be stealthy about it. Mind control is not like in the movies. You don't need to coerce someone into hours of hypnosis and other methods to get into his head. You just need to use subliminal tricks to sneak into his mind. Over time, you can effectively change his style of thinking. It can take a while to train someone to think in a new way, but you can achieve effective mind control just once on a victim too. Mind control is also not always used for evil. You probably won't be able to brainwash someone into assassinating your boss at your job, but you can get people to do what you want and to think in ways that are convenient for you. You can use mind control for good or evil. Mind control is far from ethical, and most people won't agree with it. However, if you are discreet, no one will know, and then you can get away with it, and the questionable ethics of it. Power of subliminal messaging. Subliminal messaging is beautiful because it is so subtle. You can plant ideas into someone's head and influence someone without even appearing like you are the one behind it. Subliminal messages typically involve a flash of image or sound that reminds someone of something. These messages are usually hidden and occur so quickly that people are not consciously aware of them. Subliminal techniques work great in advertising. A company can just briefly flash an image, and suddenly customers start thinking about their products without knowing why. They don't realize that they have seen. They don't realize what they have seen because it happened so fast. But some part of their brains processes the image. You can use this concept to your own advantage by flashing images and sounds and other sensory stimulus in front of people to put an idea or desire into their minds without their knowledge. You essentially get away with murder when you use subliminal messages. So, say you want to seduce someone, you can very briefly flash a pornographic image or play a millisecond of a recording of a woman or man moaning sexually. Suddenly, this person wants to have sex. You can also expose someone to the smell of Italian food. Suddenly, he will want to go to your favorite Italian place when he wanted Mexican earlier. Gain mind control over people by using subliminal techniques to influence their thinking and feeling. You can also take a step further by conditioning a person by exposing them to some sort of stimulus that triggers them to perform an action and receive a reward from you. Then flash this conditioned stimulus around the person briefly to cause him to perform his trained response. We already talked about this a little bit in the chapter on manipulation persuasion, and in the section about Pavlovian conditioning. Brainwashing. Brainwashing is the process by which you change someone's thinking and make someone believe what you want. You can turn someone into your mental slave over time if you perform enough psychological abuse and manipulation to make that person completely rely on you. To start brainwashing, you need to start with a blank slate. This means that you need to destroy someone's sense of identity and perception of the world. You can do this by repeatedly gaslighting someone, making him doubt his perception. You can also make little hurtful digs and jokes to uproot his self-esteem and plant insecurities within his mind, while also complimenting him and building his ego up so that he relies on you for his self-esteem. Confusing and hurting someone will debase his sense of identity. Making him feel good also enables you to keep him around and make him dependent on you. Isolation is also a great way to strip away someone's identity. Use isolation to keep him from being around people who reaffirm his identity and make him feel secure. Slowly remove him from his friends and family so that he has no support to keep him anchored in his sense of self. I know what that's like because that's what happened to me. It's been a long time. Yeah. Once you have someone feeling crazy and full of doubt, you can start brainwashing him and change his way of thinking by questioning him. And when he says that he likes something, tell him that it sucks. And when he hates something, talk it up like he likes it too. Prove to him that all of his opinions are wrong so that he eventually comes around to your way of thinking. Be very guess I gotta borrow this again. Yeah, I know I've gone through this my whole life. Whether people knew they were doing it or not is another question. But I do believe back in 2008, 2019, it certainly did happen to me. I was stripped of everything. And they used their eugenics program with the jibbity jab. So let's go back here. Be very persuasive and persistent. Over time, you will eke yourself into his mind, making him want him to be. You can effectively destroy his old self and recreate him as you see fit. Exposing someone To do something over time will also make it seem normal to him. He will eventually start to accept it as part of his reality. If he is exposed to it enough, just exposing a person to a violent movie has been found to cause callous behavior and less empathy, indicating that you can very easily influence someone with even just some slight exposure to something, change his lifestyle or way of thinking by exposing him to the differences you want to see in him. This could be used for good. You could expose someone to more positive thinking or a healthier lifestyle to encourage him to do better for himself. Or you could use it for evil and make him accept dark thinking, low self-esteem, violence, drug use, and other such bad things in his life. In time, you can totally transform a person into someone entirely different. Think this extreme form of brainwashing is not possible? Consider Charles Manson, who was able to convert some of his disciples into murderers in a matter of days. Also think of abusive relationships, where the victim becomes someone entirely different in a matter of months and tolerates abuse because he or she believes it is really love. Mind wipe. Mind wipe is a process of wiping thoughts and memories from someone's mind, and I think this would happen to us. And when we get zapped back into this place, go back in the womb, we forget our previous lives. It's called a memory swipe. This is called mind wipe. So they happen while here in the physical. So anyways, mind wipe is a process of wiping thoughts and memories from someone's mind. While it is far from easy, you can find many practical uses for it. You can erase shameful memories from someone's mind and rebuild your reputation. You can also make someone misremember things in order to cover up your own tracks when you lie. Basically, you can pick and choose what you want someone to remember, but understand that wiping someone's mind is not always easy, and it's pretty shitty too. One effective way to erase memories is to prevent them from becoming memories in the first place. You can accomplish this by interrupting someone's memory-making process. Interrupting the memory before the brain can process it a great way to disrupt the formation of the memory. You can use distraction and interruption someone's attention. You can use distraction and interrupt someone's attention by exposing them to an even more vivid, violent stimulus, such as a loud noise or a gruesome scene on TV. Doing this will distract the person and tear his attention away from the occasion that you would like him to forget. Another way is to use certain drugs to interrupt memory formation. Heavy alcohol use can impair someone's memory fairly well. So can Rohypnol, more commonly known as roofies. Powerful drugs like Tazodone, Triazolam, Xanax, diazepam. Can knock someone into a deep amnesic sleep, which will delete all short-term memory. You can also erase the associations that trigger memories. People tend to link memories to simple items, sights, sounds, and scents. Identify a source that bring up memory for your subject, then focus on the training him to stop associating this item as stimulus with the memory. Create new memories and tell him to think of different things. And when he sees the object or stimulus in question, breaking this association can take some time. Over time, you can also train someone to repress a memory. The conscious mind is actually quite talented at suppressing memories. It is a defense mechanism that the human brain is very good at. Encourage someone to work on suppressing a memory. Teach him to think that this memory does not serve him and that it is best if he forgets it. It may or may not work because it takes the subject cooperation. In addition, the repressed memory is never truly erased, and it is always there lingering under the surface of someone's consciousness and may resurface eventually. Thought control. Controlling someone's thoughts is possible through various methods of influence. Basically, you want to train someone to think differently. When someone has a thought that is not desirable to you, for whatever reason, you can redirect his thoughts. Consider using dark CBT and ask him a series of questions to make him doubt his thinking and redirect it in the direction that you want. Or use NLP to lead him down a different line of thinking. Subliminal messages can cause him to suddenly change his mind about something. The different forms of psychological warfare we cover in this book can also be used to strip down someone's ego and make his thoughts about himself far darker. Thought control is possible through all the techniques discussed in these pages. Hypnosis. Hypnosis is portrayed in an often comical way in movies and old 1970s action shows, but in reality you can't really make someone into a zombie with the snap of your fingers. However, that does not mean that hypnosis is not an extremely powerful way to make someone do what you want. Hypnosis works by tapping into someone's subconscious and planting ideas there, and when you get someone into a hypnotic state, he will be more receptive to your ideas because the barrier between his conscious mind and subconscious mind will be shut down. During a hypnotic state, you can tell someone what he should do. You can also force his brain to form an association between what you say and a trigger, such as a sound or song or even finger snap. But there's a catch. You can certainly use hypnosis to plant ideas in someone's mind. You can convince someone to quit smoking, for instance. However, people will not do the things that go against their inherent natures. So say you are trying to accomplish something really evil and get a guy to assassinate the Malaysian Prime Minister, like in the Ben Stiller comedy Zoolander. If you try to hypnotize a person with homicidal tendencies and you tell him to kill the Prime Minister, he may just do it. If you try to hypnotize a nice pacifist who wouldn't dream of killing someone, you might not have such great luck. His consciousness, it will override your hypnotism, and he won't be able to bring himself to do what you want. So if you want to hypnotize, if you want hypnosis to work, you must find a person who is already open and susceptible and capable of what you are asking. The best way to hypnotize someone is to put him in a situation or environment that is very relaxing. Disarm him by relaxing him. Speak to him in a soothing voice that lulls him into a state of quiet. Ask him to focus on his breathing and say that you want him to relax. If he is stressed out, this will work out because it will seem like you are simply trying to help him relax. And you can even tell him that you want to try hypnosis on him to help him let go of stress and relax deeply. Ask someone what his goals are for hypnosis. You can also set your own goals. Try to get your goals to mesh with his for the most successful hypnosis sessions. Guide him to what you want by disguising your goals within his. Maybe you want him to quit smoking, and he wants to learn to handle stress better. These two goals work together seamlessly because they are related. You can use his goal to encourage him to adopt better stress coping mechanisms, to quit harmful coping mechanisms such as smoking. And that allows you to achieve your goal while making it seem like you're only working on helping him achieve his goal. It is also a good idea to get to know your subject at this point. Ask him what he is afraid of, for instance, to then avoid mentioning those things. Free will cause him to shut down. Excuse me, not free. It's fear will. Fear will cause him to shut down, and panic, ruining the trance state that is so essential for hypnosis to work. Once your and his goal are solidly defined, you want to induce a trance state. You can do this by speaking to him in a low, soft voice. Start commanding him to sink deeper and deeper into a trance. Say things like, "Let my words wash over you like a slow ocean wave. Let them sink into like warm, comforting water." Again, remember to find out what your subject is afraid of. If he had a drowning experience or is terrified of water, you don't want to use a water metaphor. Find a metaphor that will be more comforting to him. Lull him deeper and deeper into a state with your words. Tell him to relax his shoulders and command him to let his eyelids grow heavier. As some people use methods like tapping a person with their fingers and swinging a pendulum in front of someone's eyes to lull them into hypnosis. You can tell that someone is in a hypnotic state when his head starts to droop and he starts to mumble. His body will be totally loose, and he will speak to you in a distant tone. And when he reaches this state, it means that he is totally receptive to your message. Start by repeating the goals that you set at the beginning of the sessions. Then ask him a few questions, such as his name, to make sure that he is still aware. Repeat the goals. And then bring him out of the state slowly. Tell him to begin waking up. Lead him through the different stages of waking up and command him to become aware of his surroundings again. You can also train him to wake up and enter the hypnotic state as a trigger that you choose. Usually it takes more than one session to train someone this way. However, now it is possible to be a little more clandestine about hypnosis. Say you want to hypnotize someone without letting him know that you're doing it. You can't bring someone into a deep trance state necessarily, but you can start to command him to think along certain lines using a firm yet relaxing voice. Start telling him what to do and what to think. You can also expose him to a stimulus of some sort, such as the sound or scent, and then start working on commanding him to relax. This stimulus will create association after repeated exposures, which will make him instantly enter the state and think of what you have told him to do in the past when he is exposed to it again. Man. Propaganda. You can use propaganda to change people to see your side, to champion your cause. The best form of propaganda stirs up fear in people and challenges their way of thinking, causes them to want to take action. Then you propose a way that they can change the fate that they fear by encouraging them to take some sort of action. Look at how political propaganda works. Fear tactics are the number one way that political ads target people. Around election time, you'll notice ads saying things like, so-and-so is about to defund schools. If you want your children to get a quality education, please don't vote for this person. The ads are always sponsored by the opposing party. You can use similar tactics for your own personal gains. Tell people that they stand to lose and make sure that it is something they care about deeply. Then suggest what type of action they can take to make the fearful fate go away. Go away. Make people feel as if they are important, as if they can do things to prevent what they don't want to happen. You can also appeal to people and the things that they really care about. Kids are one way to really appeal to people. Urge them to take some sort of action by telling them how they will benefit themselves and their loved ones. Propaganda can be spread in various ways. You don't even need to reveal that you are the one behind the propaganda. Start sending out letters and flyers. Send chain mails and that appear to be composed by some organization or anonymously. And you can even use the internet. Of course you do. That's what happens all the time on the internet. The fact that the internet is one of the greatest tools at your disposal. You can expose people to messages quite simply using social media. Spread posts and videos that will influence people the way you want. The sensationalism of the internet indicates its power over people. People will believe almost anything that they see online, as proved by many social experiments when people spread false facts and celebrity death rumors online and had thousands or even millions of people believing them within hours. Fake news is another way to garner the attention and action of the vast amounts of people. This is a common government tactic where the news is skewed to inspire fear in the population. People will start to act out against imaginary enemies based on the news that they see. You can use this to your advantage in many ways, starting rumors of a company merger and possibly layoff may get your coworkers to work harder because they fear for their jobs, for example. Chapter 7, Deception that would fool an FBI interrogator. Understanding what gives deception away is an essential part of learning how to become a good liar. You can lie through your teeth, but it will create more harm than good if you don't know how to avoid detection. A good liar is able to act natural, but he is also prepared. He knows what to say and do when people try to detect his dishonesty. This is why people don't like me, because I ask questions. So that's what it comes down to. Liars don't like the questions. You can dispose it simply just asking questions. It's as simple as that. You don't even have that intent, by the way, about exposing them. They'll just run because, hey, shit, if you could find out, that you're lying, right? People don't want to deal with that. A good liar is also wise about lying. He thinks, why lie when when he doesn't have to. Lying takes a lot of effort. He knows that if he he knows if he conserves that energy for when he really needs it, he will be a better liar on the rare occasions when he lies. He also knows that he will earn an honest reputation and won't earn the mistrust of others. So here are some tips on how to become such a good liar that you could even fool an FBI interrogator who is an expert at catching liars. Have a reason. Lying all the time is no way to become a good liar. Sure, practice makes perfect, but when you lie a lot, you run the risk of getting sloppy. You damage your honest reputation. If you are a known liar, no one will believe you. You are more likely to get caught in lies in the future if people suspect that you lie about everything. It is far better to have an honest reputation when people think that you are a good person who never lies. Then people won't have as much reason to suspect you of dishonesty. It's funny with Christianity, right? One of their converting tactics is, you're a sinner, right? And the one thing they always say, have you ever lied before? Have you ever lied before? You know what I mean? And so, and then of course, people are going to say, yeah, because everyone's lied before, right? It's just how it is. It's part of human nature. And even after you believe in Jesus, you're still going to lie, right? But it's a great cover, right? The Jesus thing and the Christianity thing, because what it makes is it makes people think, well, it's at least we're on the right side of the team, right? And it's the way, the truth in the life. And so you believe that people are telling the truth when they're telling you their testimony, which is one of the best ways to deceive people and be deceived, is you're sharing your testimony. It's continual reinforcement of the confirmation bias, right? The self-bias. And what happens? You end up being a robot. I mean, you just go to like a Mormon church on a fourth Sunday of every month and go to their fast and testimony meeting, and you will witness the people go line up line and say the same fucking things that everyone else says. It's all about reinforcing the church and donating your money. I mean, it's really an evil fucking place we live in. It really is. And it takes a lot to break free. When you break free, you realize something. You're going to have better chance of having a decent conversation with a tree, with any person. It's really disappointing. But you need to talk to other people as well, so you can self-reflect and, see what's going on within you as well. So, and, but more and more, and the main thing is, when we were little kids, we knew we were being lied to. But as time went on, the lies just built upon each other, and everybody's bullshitting each other and lying, and you know what I mean, writing out their resumes. And in the end, you're just so numb by it all. That's the reason why, by the time you get to be my age, most of us just don't want to fucking talk to anybody at all. You just go to work, get the job done, go home, and frickin', do our hobbies or stare at the television and just wait to die, with the hope that we can hang out with our children and our grandchildren for a little bit until that gets tedious. It is fucked up, really evil system. It really is, and we created it, along with whatever those archonic forces that reinforce it and feed upon this bullshit. I just don't understand how anybody can be satisfied or comfortable with the world in which you live in. It doesn't matter where it's at. You look at whatever institution, whatever movement, and the corruption it just oozes out, and it comes out of people's mouths and their actions. And the best that we can do is reinforce the prison that we're in. Grade it all up. Pave it all up. This whole thing about the internet, too. It's a it's a prison. You can't have these kind of I don't have these conversations, at least. And if you're really honest, chances are that the people that you call your friends can't have these kind of deep conversations. It's too dark. It's too upsetting. They don't want to deal with it because we don't know how to deal with it. Because the only way to deal with it is to pull out, drop out. Literally. I'm not talking about, doing drugs and, tripping out. I'm talking about you really have to reassess and we all have to do it. Someone has to start. Someone has to pull out, and then another, and then another. And those people that are willing to pull out of the system needed to communicate with each other and share the importance of why everyone else has to pull out. Because the system that we live under, it works in a totalitarian system, an oppressive, authoritarian system. And this dystopic nightmare that we live in, it works to keep you down. And if you go along with it, they'll give just enough crumbs for your creature needs. And if you're really good at your shit, they might get a bigger box, a bigger cage, but you're still imprisoned in the system. There is in the United States of America, there is no such thing as true freedom. Nor source free will, fuck that. The type of job, the type of job you're going to do the rest of your life, that's about the closest thing you have any possible freedom. But you don't have freedom, which in the end of the day, what corporation you're going to work for, what booth you're going to sit in, and what project you're going to do. And then you have to go home and appease everybody. It's just like, we're just cogs in this evil grinding machine of bullshit. And we all know it. Here we go. Then people won't have as much reason to suspect you're dishonest. Of course, this means that you should be honest more than you should be dishonest. Save the lying for when you really need to lie. Basically, only lie when you have a good reason to. Weigh each situation in your head. What would the consequences of the truth be? You might make someone unhappy with the truth, but will that unhappiness go away? Is this something that other people can get over, or will it ruin your reputation and your friendships and more? If you have a lot of to lose by telling the truth, still consider telling the truth. People will often forgive you for the truth. Lying makes things 10 times worse, but if you absolutely cannot tell the truth, then you can consider lying. The more you need to lie, the more likely you are to pull it off. You can stand to lose a lot, and you can have great motivation for lying. Therefore, you will do your best to tell a convincing lie. Rehearse. Before you lie, it is best to organize your mind. Get things right so that when you tell your tale, you won't mess up. First, determine your target. Who are you lying to and why? What story will make the most sense to this person and minimize your risk of getting caught? You know who you will be lying to in order to design the best lie possible. Second, think up a logical story. Fill in all the gaps. Come up with lots of details that make your story believable. Think of questions or problems, that others may bring up and come up with explanations. You may have to think fast, but don't let that get you nervous. This is a chance to be very creative. Never practice your lie in your head so that you memorize it. What? Did I say never? Let's try this again. Next, practice your lie in your head so that you memorize it. That way, when you're on the spot being interrogated, you are prepared with what to say. You won't spend as much time scrambling to make up details on the spot, creating an incoherent story that gives away your deception. Watch your tenses. Liars tend to mess up the tenses of their sentences when they are fabricating part of a story. When someone is reviewing true events that occurred in the past, they will naturally use the past tense. When they switch to a fabrication, their mind suddenly is in the present, trying to invent a story on the spot. Thus, they start using present tense. Watch out for rapid and unexplained tense switches and jump in conversations is a great way to spot if someone is being less than truthful. But you can also use this knowledge for your own excellent lying. Avoid detection by rehearsing your story beforehand, being careful to maintain the same tense. Tell the truth as much as possible. Another great secret to lying lying well is to tell the truth in a misleading way. The more truth that is in your lie, the easier it is for others to verify. You look more honest that way. You also can blame lapses of truth on faulty memory. And should anyone find out about the bit of falsehood that you snuck in with the truth, lying by omission, this is a big thing that they do. Lying by omission. I gotta take a break. Gotta take a break, driver 8. Tell the truth as much as possible. Another great secret of lying well is telling the truth in a misleading way, or truth that of course I just read this one, but I'm starting another section of another read. I'm getting back to recording, I'm trying to say. The more truth that is in your lie, the easier it is for others to verify. You look more honest in this way. You also can blame lapses in truth and faulty memory. Should anyone find out about a bit of falsehood that you snuck in with the truth. That's how people think. Lying by omission. This is the big one. Big one. Lying by omission is a way to do this. Is one way to do this. You tell the truth but leave out one key detail. However, you want to make sure that this detail is totally obscured. People know all about lying by omission. They watch you for this. You need a good cover-up for the event that someone spots your omission. When you omit part of the story, make sure that there are no obvious holes. You want to make sure that the story connects. So when you leave something out, the story overall is still cohesive. You can make up a few details to bridge the gap. Sounds just like Christianity. God. Deliberate misleading. How you word things is also a great way to mislead people. Without outright lying, you can use certain phrases that lead people to draw wrong conclusions on their own. If they ever find out the truth and confront you for lying, you can say, but I told you the truth. Really, you did. Deliberate misleading is a pretty advanced technique. Learning how to use the language to purposely mislead someone without getting caught in the act is, getting caught is an art. But that's why you've graduated to dark psychological 202, right? The art of misleading requires you to make others draw incorrect conclusions on their own. Offering just a few certain words can make someone believe something that you are not really saying. People tend to draw ideas from their own biases. Knowing someone's biases helps you figure out what conclusions they are likely to draw based on the language you use. Here are a few examples that can show how misleading words from there you can build your own misleading tales when you need to. Someone asks you if a girl is your girlfriend. You like her, so you don't want him to hit on her, but meanwhile she isn't yours. Instead of telling a direct lie that she is your girlfriend, you can just say, "We talk." That's so vague, but it means different things to different people. This guy will probably infer from it that you two have something going on. Your mother wants to know where you've been. You can tell her that you went to a friend's house and then started talking about how your best friend Mark's sister kept saying something funny. She will infer from this that you were probably at Mark's house. In reality, you never told her whose house you were at. Your boss asks why a project isn't moving forward. You honestly haven't had time to get it done, but you don't want to lose your job. So you say, events have transpired that making moving forward difficult, but I am on it. Your boss may guess that the events you speak of are hurdles that you encountered with the project. He won't guess that really these events are just personal events that have prevented you from dedicating your full time to this project. True details and the lie. When you lie, you can still include bits and pieces of truth. Pepper your lie with truthful details as much as possible. The more truthful details you can include in your story, the better. You want to avoid fabricating as much as possible. This is good for two reasons. The first reason is that the fewer untruths you make up, the less you have to remember. Making things up takes some energy and effort, so it's best to conserve your energy as much as possible. The second reason is that truthful details are verifiable. That makes it seem like you're telling the truth and nothing but the truth. You can tell someone that you were at a friend's house and then provide some real details about the house and the party that you had heard through a friend. This makes it seem like you were actually there. False confession. Admitting to something embarrassing or revealing a secret can help confirm your innocence. You want to distract people and convince them of your innocence by claiming that you were doing something embarrassing and personal. You also build trust and create a false bond when you tell someone a secret. Let's say you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. You don't want to admit what you were really doing, so you make up something else nefarious that is a little less terrible than what you were actually doing. So you could say, I was seeing my mistress, or I was at a porn shop. This embarrassing confession both explains why you were where you were, and it makes others uncomfortable, they are less likely to press the line of questioning, and they will also think that you are telling the truth, since the truth must have been hard for you to admit. Posture and eye contact. Your physical moves are what usually give away your deception. Lying takes a lot of mental energy and emotional discomfort. This manifests in your eye contact, gesture, and movements. Physical clues that give away the fact that you're lying are usually called tells. Tells, not tails, tells. Everyone has a tell, but if you want to avoid detection, you must never reveal your tell. T-E-L-L. First, let's look at some of the common ways that liars act when they're trying to deceive someone. First, grooming. Excessive grooming indicates that a liar feels dirty and bad subconsciously. He makes up for this by grooming his facial hair, straightening his tie and clothes, cleaning his nails, or otherwise performing grooming gestures while talking. Organizing. Much like grooming, a liar feels disorganized when he lies. He attempts to make up for this by organizing the environment around him. He might straighten papers on the desk in front of him, for instance. Lack of eye contact. A liar who is afraid of giving away his deception won't want to make direct eye contact. He will look anywhere but into your eyes. He may become overly confused on a point in the distance to allow him to stall as he thinks of the story. He may look to his right as he uses his imagination to come up with something. Too much eye contact. The reverses of this is the liar who makes too much eye contact to convince someone of his honesty. Too much or too little eye contact is never good. Try to make a normal amount. Stuttering. As he stalls for time to think of a lie, he will stutter or use a lot of meaningless filler words. He might even mumble so that it's impossible to understand what he says. There are just his way of stalling for time and making it difficult to hear what he has to say. Well, I mumble all the time, but mine is, and I stutter and stall. Well, that's all has to do with my mouth and my multiple sclerosis and all the health issues that I have. So, shit. It's just the way it goes. Fidgeting. Fidgeting denotes nervousness. A liar will fidget in his seat and pick at things, play with his hair, and drum his fingers on a table, bite his lip, chew his nails, play with some small object like a paper clip or some other nervous gesture. A good liar will be relaxed and calm. That sounds like the guy I'm just about ready to get rid of in my life. He's terrible at that. And he is a liar. That's all he does, lie. So, and he's so bad at it, it's ridiculous. And you get sick of it. Anyways, believe your own lie. Why do people lie? Usually people are inherently honest, but they will rapidly become dirty, rotten liars when they know that someone will disapprove of their actions. Keeping this in mind can help you become a better liar. Consider how you want to please someone, to then create a reality that would please that person. Believe in that reality. Strive to please them. This will motivate you to not only lie, but to lie well. It's just sick, isn't it, this book? I mean, but it's how people think. Keep The key to lying is to become comfortable with it. How can you do this? One way is to make yourself believe your own lie. This is the trick that pathological liars use. They literally create false realities in their minds to convince themselves that they are not lying. Man, it sounds just like a religious person. And then they'll tell their false stories with conviction as if their stories are real. This ties into rehearsal. Rehearsing lies is essential to lying well. Rehearse your reality. Avoid common phrases. A lot of people have common phrases that set off alarm bells. Learn these phrases so that you can avoid them. Here are some major ones. Why would I lie? Would I ever lie to you? Have I ever lied to you before? These defensive phrases are telltale signs that someone is lying, so avoid using them. A liar wants to convince someone that he or she is being honest. An honest person doesn't have to do this, so don't dedicate too much time to convincing someone that of your honesty. Rather, behave calmly, as if you are comfortable with the fact that you are telling the truth. People will be more likely to believe you. If you dedicate too much time to convincing someone that you are innocent, then you will provide a dead giveaway that you are lying. And getting super defensive or indignant when people don't believe what you tell them is another form of subterfuge. When you are basically trying to distract from the lie, don't get too defensive or people will see red flags. Instead, act like your honor is everything to you and you are committed to convincing this person. How would you feel if you were actually being honest? Imagine that feeling and then channel it. Lying is a bit like acting. You want to act innocent and behave just as you would if you were being unfairly accused of lying. You might get adamant and emotional, but you're not going to act like you're offended. Convincing someone that you're not lying would be your priority as an honest person. Don't be evasive. That's what Christians are terrible at that. And that giveaway that Christianity and the story of Jesus is a lie. And the whole damn thing is a lie. And anyways, but you can say that about anybody in any of the cults and religions. So liars are evasive of the truth. Therefore, they try to avoid answering questions. Their dodging of questions not only frustrates the person who is asking, but it gives away the fact that they are not comfortable with this conversation for some reason. Therefore, being direct makes you appear honest. There are many forms of deceptive evasion. The most common is changing the subject. A liar will want to get off the uncomfortable subject for fear of giving away the fact that he is being dishonest. As a result, he wants to switch topics as rapidly as possible and beat the average liar's game by casually agreeing to remain on the subject. You don't need to keep talking about it, but as long as the other person wants to talk about it, you can keep providing details and answering questions. A rapid subject change is always suspicious, so never do that. Another form of evasion is being very vague. A liar will be vague to avoid giving away too many details. Details can get messy, but if what's going on here? But if you choose, it's stalling on me. If you choose to be direct, provide lots of details. You appear honest. You set people at ease. Don't use vague language. Stick to direct and clear terms. People assume that a liar doesn't speak so directly and tactically. A common way that liars use vagueness is by using the passive tense. The door got locked is something like a lie, like a liar would say. But now that you know better, you would say, I locked the door. Don't try to escape responsibility with passive language. Other people can see right through that ploy. I know one thing, reading this book will make you distrust just about everybody. But that's not the point. So, or, if you think that this is what you should do as a human being, I mean, my thinking is this: if I meet someone like this that has this mentality, it's a good, it's just good to know and not hang with that person, right? But it's good to know that what's going on in the tactics, right? Liars will also use softer language to lessen the impact of what they did and ease the burden of their guilt. For instance, a liar might say the painting was taken rather than the painting was stolen. Stolen is a stronger word than taken, so liars don't want to use it. However, you can stay a step ahead of most liars and use proper terms for what you are talking about. An evasive person will also try his very hardest to avoid talking about the situation that he is being dishonest about. He will do anything to dodge talking about it. Thus, he will try to evade answering questions by asking questions of his own, joking around, and otherwise trying to distract the interrogator. Distractions are one of the sneakiest forms of evasion. Staying on topic is a good way to establish a sense that you are telling the truth. One way to spot a liar is when he or she tries to stop, when he or she tries a little too hard to be non-invasive and gets a little too involved. For instance, if there is an organizational investigation into a theft in the office, you can bet that the person who screams the loudest about the theft is guilty. He or she thinks that by being very involved, he or she seems innocent and will escape detection. Oh man, it's crazy. People are crazy. But being too involved is very suspicious. You don't want to be invasive, but you don't want to be over-involved. Strike a rather neutral balance. Commit to the end. It is a warning sign when someone accuses you of lying and you get nervous and try to backtrack and change your story. If you speak with commitment and conviction, you appear far more reliable. It is important to commit to following your lie through to the end. Even if someone is suspicious of you, they won't be able to prove anything if you never break down and admit the truth and deviate from your lie. If you stand by your lie to the very end, you won't ever confess. People will become more likely to believe you, and people who don't believe you, well, there's really nothing they can do. Don't let fear make you break down. Most people have no proof that you lied, and they will forget about it sooner or later. So stick to your lie and see it through to the end. Traps to watch out for. Deception is far from a new trick. People are used to being lied to, and they can even sense when someone is being less than truthful. People have come up with many little tricks to test honesty. These tricks are good to know so that you can catch others in lies, but they are dangerous because they can really hurt your chances of getting away with an untruth. Learning to watch out for these tricks makes you a better liar than most. When you are prepared, you can skirt around these tricks and convince someone that you are telling the truth. Uh, Look at me in the eyes. People know that if they act suspicious, they can make a liar nervous. A nervous liar is prone to slip up and give away what he or she is lying. That he or she is lying. One common way that people test your honesty is to ask you, "Look me in the eyes." When you say that, your nervous spikes. Your nervousness spikes when someone says this, right? That is the whole point of the trick. But you don't need to balk at this anymore. Be prepared for someone to ask you to look them in the eyes whenever you lie. Being prepared and having a rehearsed response can save you your butt when you're lying. You are less likely to become shaken when you are not nervous. You also know just what to do and say. Which gives you more confidence. If you have a rehearsed response, that's that that's what sticks out in your mind. You will be more likely to stick to your story, even believe it a little bit, and so that it seems more truthful. Sounds just like a religion. So what you should do when someone says, look me in the eyes, do what good liars do and look him or her in the eyes, even laugh a little, but not nervously. Then repeat your story word for word. Don't vary from the script, but change up words a little so that it seems that you are speaking naturally and normally. Volatile conundrums. There's a clever trap called volatile conundrums. This is how people can catch you in a lie. Basically, when someone uses a volatile conundrum, they will invent a story that makes you admit to lying. They ask you a question that throws you off and forces you to change your story, which can catch you off guard. The most common example of this trick is when you lie to your significant other about being at the movies. Your partner may say, "That's interesting that you were at the movies. I saw on the news that there was a fire at the theater." If you're lying, the trap can make you really nervous. You don't know what to say because you didn't know that there was a fire. What if they made the fire up? What if there really was a fire? What do you say to explain what happened? Before you make up your mind that you want to lie, do your research. For instance, if you're going to say that we went to the theater, make sure that there is no news about a fire in the theater. Also research the showings and the show times. Find out who all is going. That way, when you lie, you can avoid falling into the volatile conundrum. You can say there was no fire alarm. Then you can catch someone in their own trick. On the other hand, if there really was a fire, you already knew that, and you can tell them a story about the fire alarm long before they even had a chance to ask about it. Include the fire alarm in your story, and when you tell them that you were at this theater, "Man, I was seeing this movie with my friends and a fire broke out. We had to leave through the exit doors. It was pretty crazy. I was so scared that we would get trapped." Asking you for details. Asking for details is a great way to catch a liar. Liars don't like to create too many details. Details are hard to remember and can make a story messy. If you tell someone a detail and then forget it later, you might just reveal that you were lying. That happens a lot, especially in the Bigfoot community. Oh my God, shit. Imagine, you can counteract this by going against the norms of lying. Instead of shying away from details, have plenty of them rehearsed in your lie. Volunteer them as you tell your story. Be prepared to be asked more questions and to provide plenty of detailed answers. Then be sure to commit these lies to memory. You don't want to trip up later. This reminds me so much of Rick Remarek. Like, oh God. It is best to avoid details if you can, but being open to offering details is a great way to make yourself seem innocent of lying. You will seem more honest when you are willing to speak a lot of and answer questions. Chapter 8. Cover your tracks. The ultimate key to using dark psychology is to be discreet. You can't run games on people and trick people if they are obvious about it. If you are obvious about it, you must hide your intentions and what you really are doing. This chapter is full of tricks on how to cover your tracks and maintain discretion well. You will get away with dark psychology using these discretion tips. Being discreet is of utmost importance. People hate being manipulated. They prefer to be asked for things directly. When people are manipulated, they have no control. They don't know what they are being made to do. Therefore, you must avoid detection when you are manipulating others. You also must avoid detection in deception. You can't get away with lying if people know you're lying, right? So being discreet is crucial. People can't know that you are lying, or you will have to reveal the truth. Deception itself refers to avoiding the truth and hiding your true intentions. So keep that in mind when you deceive someone. You also want to avoid detection in psychological warfare. If you are obvious about what you're doing, people will be able to prepare defense strategies against your dark psychology tactics. You can find these strategies by being discreet. Surprise people with unexpected attacks. Defend yourself by hiding what you are really doing. All of the brainwashing techniques covered in this book, from dark CBT to kamikaze mind control, also require the ultimate in stealth. People don't like being controlled. People want to control their own minds. Therefore, you can't let them know what you are trying to do. You must hide your intentions and your actions. Fortunately, mind control in itself is usually subtle and sneaky and very technique. I didn't quite understand that. Fortunately, mind control itself is usually subtle and sneaky in its very technique. Subliminal methods are difficult for others to detect, but you still must be careful to never show your hand. The best way to be discreet is to consider all dark psychology methods as part of a huge clandestine poker game. Life should be a game to you, and people are pawns. You don't want to reveal your hand, or you will lose. You must keep a great poker face and keep your cards, which are really your dark psychology weapons, hidden. You must also play to win. Losing is not an option because there is a lot at stake. What happens when you don't use discretion? Let's consider what you stand to lose if you lose at this great poker game of dark psychology. First of all, your reputation will become soiled. People talk. If someone is hurt or ripped off by you, you will become angry and tell others about what a manipulative bastard you are. He will become angry and tell others about what a manipulative bastard you are. People will stop liking you and they will avoid trusting you. Then you can't use dark psychology successfully on anyone ever again. Everyone will know what you are up to, and they will have to guard their guards up around you. You must make sure that you never gain the reputation of a manipulative bastard. Second, you stand to lose relationships if you are using someone. That relationship is beneficial to you. If you are with someone either romantically or as a friend, and you use manipulation to get your way, you could lose that person and his or her value in your life. So losing these relationships will hurt you. You don't want to lose people and make enemies. You want to keep people on your side. So you must hide what you are secretly doing. Finally, you will risk losing what you are going after. You're not using dark psychology for nothing, and so I hope. Dark psychology entails a lot of effort, risk, and time. You are putting your relationships and reputation at stake every time you use it. If you use dark psychology correctly, you can mitigate and altogether avoid these risks and get away with what you are planning. But if you don't use discretion, you stand to lose everything, including what you are going after. Dark psychology is usually best when used as a last resort. Only use it when it's the only way to get what you want. If you mess up, you won't get what you want. So you can see that dark psychology is a wonderful way to get what you want, but it does not come without risks. And you must hide what you're doing and cover your tracks very well. Otherwise, you will never succeed. You will lose everything, and you cannot afford to lose everything. You can't start over again and again. So learn to cover your tracks using the tips in this chapter. Never forget to take precautions against detection when you are employing dark psychology on victims. Use dark psychology wisely. It can be safely said that discernment is a key to life. You must be discerning in all situations. Always be wise and avoid taking on too much or starting a battle that you can't win. This same advice is especially crucial to when you use dark psychology in your life. You need to be discerning about when and where dark psychology is useful. There are times when dark psychology is either useless or unnecessary. Always explore alternative options before you commit to using dark psychology. Dark psychology is incredibly powerful. It is also almost always successful. You will enjoy great power and success when you employ dark psychology on difficult people in your life. But dark psychology is so powerful and successful. There are situations where it is overkill. You do not always need to hurt people with dark psychological warfare, manipulate someone into giving what you want, or lie to someone. Mind control is seldom necessary in real-life situations. Before you use the super powerful persuasion methods contained in this book, Find out if you can just ask the person for something directly. You would be surprised at how saying please can get you what you want. Being direct will make you look like a better person. It will make people trust you, and so that when you do need to use dark psychology, persuasion, and manipulation methods, people won't suspect you are being manipulative at all. Try using more direct methods to get what you want. First, only whip out persuasion and manipulation when you know that someone will say no, and when you want something that no one will give you. Save it for the last resort when you just can't get a yes to what you want. Psychological warfare sounds an awful lot like dealing with a businessman, you know what I mean? This just sounds like, ugh. Psychological warfare is an awesome way to crush your enemies, but some battles can't be won. Other battles just don't matter. Have you ever heard the phrase, pick your battles? This phrase is incredibly wise. Sometimes you really don't need to exert the time and energy that it takes to win a fight with someone. Really look at the battle before you take it on. Ask yourself, what will I gain from winning this? What do I stand to lose? Will this really matter in 6 months? Will I even remember this in a year? If something doesn't really matter, don't bother with it. Let it go. Move on with your life. You will feel a lot better if you drop stressful ordeals that don't matter in the long run. You also won't need to use the complicated dark psychological warfare techniques included in this book. When it comes to deception, it may be your initial reaction to lie, but keep in mind that when you can tell the truth, you should. It makes you more trustworthy, and it helps you avoid the messiness of keeping track of lies. You need to work on deciding when and where deception is necessary. Usually it is best to lie only when you stand to lose a lot by telling the truth. Telling the truth is best in all situations. Nonetheless, the truth will damage your reputation or cost you something, like your job, friends, and family, or your reputation. So decide if the lie is really necessary before you commit to one. So remember that lies are basically lifetime commitments. One lie may lead to more lies. It's a downhill slope once you start to lie. Is something really worth that kind of commitment? Will you lose more if you are caught lying than if you tell the truth? Think long and hard before you use deception. Dark psychology is best used sparingly. The more you use it, the more trouble you can get into. It also tends to lose its power the more you use it on someone. Save dark psychology for situations and people who are truly worth your dedication, who need to be controlled, who stand to ruin your life otherwise. Reserve dark psychology as a last resort, or wipe out every, or whip it out every now and then to gain control over a person, but don't use it every day. Don't employ it every day, or you will start to get into trouble and gain a reputation as a shifty, untrustworthy manipulator. Destroy evidence. You should always destroy evidence, or better yet, leave no evidence behind. Evidence can be destroyed by destruction of evidence, but destruction of evidence is often messy. You do much better if you never leave any trace of what you do. Make sure that you never leave a paper trail. For instance, if you want to lie to someone, don't do it through an email where he can bring it up later. Instead, do it in person later. You can always claim that you said something different. There will be no proof. Also, avoid being recorded. People will do this if they feel that they are being untrustworthy. Make sure that he doesn't have his phone in his hand. He might be recording you if he holds his phone up when you speak. Avoid having witnesses, and when you want to talk to your victim, do it when the two of you are alone. Witnesses can be your downfall. You don't want others to remember what you really said or did. And be very cautious when speaking or doing things related to dark psychology and presence of others. When you use subliminal triggers such as unlike pictures, be sure to delete that picture from your computer and your internet search history. This way you can't be caught later on. Any weapon that you use subliminally should later be deleted or erased. Make sure that things can't be traced back to you. Say you use a high-pitched noise device to drive someone crazy. Have a company install it and use a direct name for it. Pay for it with cash. This way it can't be traced back to you. Cover all trails that lead back to you. This will help you even if the law gets involved. Evidence can be your downfall when you lie. That's why you want to follow the advice in the chapter on deception. Be prepared. You want to follow the chapter on deception to perfect details and make sure that your story makes sense. You want to make sure that nothing can prove you were making things up. Be as close to the truth as you can possibly be. Also make sure that there are no loose ends. If you use any sort of weapon, device, or other physical item to run dark psychology on someone, don't keep this item in your possession. Get rid of it or destroy it if for good. Being caught with something that you once used against someone can prove your guilt. Never make the mistake of keeping a journal or log of your activities. If you do want to keep track of your lies, other dark psychology tricks with some sort of log, make sure that it is in code, locked away in a safe, and in a locked file on your computer. And this reminds me of Far Journeys from Bob Monroe and their code. And the confused messages that they were sharing. Brutal. Use code words and don't make it obvious what you are talking about. Never share this log with anyone. If you can keep track of your activities without a log, please do so. Holding on to evidence and keeping journals have been the demise of many people. Gaslight somebody. You want to gaslight the hell out of people that you manipulate. That way they doubt their own perception, coupled with a lack of evidence. It sounds just like in the church. You can use gaslighting to stake around all types of detection. Did I say stake or did I mean skate? to skate around all types of detection. We already covered gaslighting and how it makes people doubt their own sanity. Start using gaslighting early on in a relationship with a victim. Deny conversations that you just had. Claim that people are just imagining things. This way you establish control over your victim's mind early on. This control will become very useful when you have to deny a serious accusation. Planting such doubt early on in a relationship can unsettle someone's faith in himself, enabling you to escape his accusations and convince him that he is just imagining things when he assumes that you are manipulating, lying, or doing something else wrong. Make people scream crazy. In addition to making people feel that they are crazy, you should ruin their reputations and make people look crazy to others. This ruins their credibility when they try to accuse you of manipulating them or otherwise treating them badly. People won't believe what they say. You need to start working on discrediting someone as soon as you mark him as a victim. Show others the mistakes he makes and the flaws that he has. This way others will start to disbelieve what he says, and when he starts to accuse you of being a horrible person and doing something wrong, it will appear that he is not a credible source. Provoke someone in small ways. Do something nasty in private before you go out with him so that he explodes at you in public. Do small irritating things that others cannot see so that he loses his mind on you when his temper finally snaps. Say and do things that trigger his temper without being obvious about it. One good way to do this is to ignore him while he talks to you. Others won't notice that you are ignoring him. They think that you are simply trying to avoid drama. He will look insane when he loses his mind in anger on you. Also, point out of awful things that he does. Tell others about his faults and flaws. Make it seem like you are the fragile, innocent victim when really he is the victim. The more hurt you act, the more hurt you act, the more people are likely to take your side. Reveal that he is a monster and you did nothing to deserve what he does to you. Others will start to take your side and think that he is a horrible person who doesn't deserve their support. You can also admit to wrongdoing, but make it look like your actions were somehow justified. Make it look like you didn't manipulate or wrong him deliberately. For instance, if you are dating someone, you can make it seem like he is abusive to you. You felt like he had lied. You felt like you had to lie to him just to escape his temper. Say that you're cheated in order to find love that he can't give you. You can also make your actions appear innocent. Tell people that he is oversensitive and took the normal things that you do personally. On top of ruining someone else's reputation, you need to build up your own. Appear like the most innocent, wonderful, good-hearted person in the world. Never do anything to make others suspect that you have a dark side. We cover this more in the final chapter, chapter 10, when you have such a great reputation and outer image. Others will not believe that you are capable of being destructive or awful. Sounds like a priest or a frickin' what a pastor would do. Have a great defense strategy. Operate under the assumption that you will get caught. Always work to build a defense strategy should someone ever catch you using dark psychology. Your defense strategy needs to make your actions look excusable, and they need to make you appear innocent. They need to help you preserve your integrity and your reputation. Create an argument to excuse and explain your actions. You may need to lie, but you want to make yourself look better. Explain away what you did and why you felt that it was necessary. Present a convincing argument that you were doing what you felt you had to do. Say that you were lying to keep your job, to keep food in your kid's mouth, for instance. I think it's very human to lie, I guess. If you can deflect the guilt onto the other person, cheaters do this often by telling their partners, I cheated because you don't give me the love and attention that I need, or bring up something bad that the other person did to put him on the defensive and distract him from what he is mad at you about. Guilt and shame are powerful emotional weapons that can really help you deflect attention away from yourself. They can also allow you to make a person feel as if what you did to him was deserved. Your ultimate aim here is to make someone believe that he deserved what you did to him and that you don't deserve punishment for what you did. Sometimes a blatant denial is a risky move. If the evidence is stacked against you, denial may not work, but the evidence is sketchy and you know that your accuser can't prove that you did anything wrong, and try using blatant denial in your defense strategy. Deny what you did and stand by your denial to the bitter end. Trivialize the wrongness of your actions to make the other person feel dumb for getting upset and accusing you about something. Laugh at someone or tell him that what you did is not such a big deal. Say something like you are way too sensitive, or yes, my mom did to me all the time, and you read way too much into this. You're overthinking things. Put the guilt on him and make it seem like what you did is not such a big deal. A lot of people will start to buy into your trivializations and shrug off what they were upset about. A facade is even better. Lie and make it appear that things are not as they seem. Perhaps claim that you were doing something bad, but not what the victim is accusing you of doing. You can admit to lying, for instance, but don't admit to manipulating someone, or claim that you were really doing something innocent and it only appears ugly. For instance, claim that you were trying to manipulate someone in order to protect him from emotional harm that you foresaw. Create a facade that covers up the true intentions in your heart and the true direction you were going. When you prepare your strategy, you may want to imagine different possible scenarios then create alternative strategies to back you in any situation. You won't be able to prepare for everything, but you can come close, pick the most likely scenarios, and worry about those. Don't drive yourself nuts by trying to think of absolutely everything. Chapter 9, getting anyone to like you. Human beings naturally want to be liked. It's a driving desire that all people share. It is important for humans to feel as if they are part of something and accepted by the herd. This dates back to the caveman times when you needed the support of your clan to keep you alive. That instinct has not died with time. We still need other people. Recent studies have shown that positive human contact can boost your self-esteem. Skin-to-skin touch can release feeling good hormones in your brain. Therefore, it is obvious that you need others to like you. But there are multiple benefits to being well liked. Not only does it satisfy your instincts and fill you with a sense of pleasure and fulfillment, but it can be very helpful if you have a network of friends to turn to in times of need. People carry you further in the world. They provide you with help and opportunities that normally you wouldn't have access to. People you know, the more successful you will. What is I must have missed something here. Let's see what I say. The more people, okay, yeah, that's right. The more people you know, the more successful you'll be. Being liked also bolsters your image. You can be much more persuasive if you're well liked. When someone likes you, he or she will want to please you. That enables you to find friends and get your way. You won't seem like a jerk doing this because people like you. People will do a lot for their friends, and so the more friends you have, the more you can get from others. Reach out to others and don't just rely on yourself. Other people will want to like you because people are trend followers. When others like you, this increases the chances that more and more people will find you appealing and attractive. You will become more of a magnet to both genders if you appear likable. People really rely on others for cues about whether or not to talk to someone. So if people like you, you will attract even more people. Finally, being well liked boosts your confidence, and that in turn makes you more attractive to people, more persuasive, and more likely to get your way. Confidence enables you to believe in yourself and to win, regardless of what others think. You won't have self-doubt nagging at you, making you hold yourself back. You won't feel guilty and undeserving of winning, so you won't prevent yourself from going after what you want using dark psychology and using dark psychology successfully. You may also want to learn how to become well liked just to enjoy life more. There might be a person that you want to befriend or seduce. Well, this chapter will show you how to gain friends for persuasion purposes and also how to seduce people. You will have the power to make anyone like you by the end of this chapter. How can you become so well liked? There are a variety of methods, but you will know how to get even your worst enemies to love you by the end of this book. You just have to believe in your ability to attract people left and right. Shed away. Shed away. Borrow again. negative self beliefs where you think that you aren't worthy of friends, as this belief alone can cost you friends. Now read on and learn how to attract people to yourself, how to make people like you. Making people like you is easier than you think. You don't need to build super deep, profound bonds with every person that you meet. You simply make every person leave his or her interaction with you smiling and thinking of you as a positive light. Neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, is already something that we have touched on. It's pretty cool, isn't it? You can use NLP techniques to get people to like you. The ideas that we explored about mirroring, communication, and breathing are all great ways to get someone to like you. Make a great impression. You want to make a great first impression. Your first impression is how you get someone to like you. First impressions are lasting and often your only chance to get someone to like you. Therefore, you want to make a great one. You want to start out by being polite. Use your manners. Smile a lot. Eye contact. These things make you seem like a great, honest person with nothing to hide. People respect you almost instantly. But you also want to be bold. For the first to say hello and to offer a handshake. Introduce yourself to people without waiting for a formal introduction to be made by someone else. This forward behavior makes you seem like a confident go-getter. You also want to appear like you have your life together. No one wants to befriend a mess. Therefore, you want to be presentable. Practice good hygiene. Dress well. Keep your hair groomed and in a flattering style. Do what you can to look good to others. Mainly, you want to look good to yourself. Since confidence is the key to attracting other people, you don't need to be a knockout bombshell to be at least somewhat attractive to others. Just being pleasant looking and pleasant smelling helps you create a good first impression. Similarities. You want to forge a bond with someone. The best way to find things in common the best ways to find things in common. You can do this by old school way, by asking a series of questions, or you can be more dark psychology 202 about it and observe a person over time so that you can find what he or she likes and then approach him or her and say, I noticed that you like yada yada, so do I. Perception. You want to seem incredibly perceptive. People love that. People love getting that eerie spine tingle when you guess something accurately about them. Perceptiveness creates an instant connection that may be totally false, but it means everything to your subject. You can become more perceptive by making some lucky guesses, things that are likely. This is a common trick employed by fortune tellers. For instance, when someone is down, you can guess, I can tell that you had a rather rough childhood and that affects you now. People have had rough childhoods, but this person will wonder how you knew, and he will feel that you somehow can see into his soul. He will feel an instant bond with you and will open up to you. Remember, people love those that they can talk to, so you can get someone to like you by being a shoulder to cry on. Or you can observe someone over a period of time. Use your observant nature to gather clues and information, then surprise the person by just knowing things. He or she doesn't need to know that you gathered the clues from conversations and such. Open body language. Being an open person encourages others to want to connect with you. If you are closed off from others, standing alone in a corner with your arms crossed, then people won't find you very approachable or likable. But if you appear open and exude an air of warmth and agreeableness, then others will flock to you. It's sad. Start by smiling at people. Open conversations. Be ready to speak to anyone. Also have an open body language. Uncross your arms and legs so that you can appear more open to others. Stand facing others squarely and don't turn your shoulders or back to people. Don't keep looking at exits and keep your feet pointed towards the nearest door, as these are clear signs that you want to leave. Be expressive with your face and arms. The more expressive you are, the more open you appear. Your expressions may be totally fake, but they will attract others. People like those with whom they can connect emotionally. Don't jingle around or act nervous. Neither be relaxed and calm. If you appear nervous, it seems like you have something to hide. Be open in conversation too. Don't shut people down or try to end conversations hastily. Don't give blunt and monosyllabic replies. Don't frown or seem unruly. While you don't want to seem a freak by oversharing, you want to be open to speaking about yourself and your emotions. This makes you seem like a genuine friend who wants to connect and share. It will encourage others to share as well. When you are more open to listening and to speaking to others, you will attract more people. Speak first and don't give up. Have you noticed how power talkers have the most friends? When they speak first, you create an impression that you are a powerful, confident person with extroverted tendencies. This is a great part of the impression that you want to make. So you want to speak first and speak the loudest. Don't let others interrupt you. You also want to start speaking first at meetings. This will grab others' attention and make you stand out in their minds. Focus on someone. Intense focus is incredibly flattering. When you hone in on someone and give him or her all your energy, you flatter him or her. You create a sensation that you really care and that he or she is interesting. People love to feel interesting, so you will make him or her feel great. Now people love those who make them feel great. So being flattering will earn you friends. Cut out distractions when you are talking to someone. Don't even glance at your phone unless it is an emergency. Don't stare off into space and at other people. Just make eye contact and intently focus on the other person. Listen and pay attention to everything that he or she says. Nod your head at intervals and ask questions to indicate your high level of interest. Seduction is at its finest. Tips about how the tips above can also be employed in seduction. The difference is you want to add a sexual or romantic element when you are seducing someone. You want to use the above techniques, but add the techniques in this section. Popillometrics. Popillometrics. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Popillometrics is essentially using your eyes to create seductive bedroom eyes. Bedroom eyes are sexy and make the other person melt. Men especially are weak to bedroom eyes. You can do this by relaxing the skin around your eyes. You can also enlarge your pupils, creating a sense that you are very attracted to your subject. Lower the light in the room to help expand your pupils. Draw attention to yourself. You want to draw attention to yourself. The best way to do this is to emphasize your assets. As a woman, you can bend over, stroke your cleavage, wear revealing clothing to draw attention to your body, play with your long hair, purse your lips. As a man, stroke your facial hair, flex your muscles, show off your bulge with tight pants. You want to draw someone's attention to your sexuality and draw your body and your body if you want to have sex. You want to draw more attention to your positive attributes and what you can provide someone. If you are trying to go for more than just sex, you might want to show how compassionate you are by drawing attention to your involvement in the animal shelter, or show how much money you have and what financial support you can provide by showing off your high-end way of life, bragging about your great job. Just don't overdo it. People are put off by bragging, so you want to avoid bragging too much. Casually mention great things about yourself, then ask him or her questions to avoid seeming stuck up or overly self-involved. Create an atmosphere. Atmosphere is a huge part of the seduction process. You want to create a sensual mood and open someone up to the idea of sex. Therefore, you must set the mode by changing your environment. Seducing someone under bright fluorescent lights in a hectic work environment won't work quite as well as seducing him or her in a dimly lit room with candles burning and sensual music playing on the stereo. Certain places are more suitable than others for seduction. Ideally, you want to get your subject into a romantic environment such as a nice restaurant or a beautiful spot in nature. You want to create an inviting and sensual environment to facilitate your seduction. How's your video going, buddy?
It's fine.
But sometimes you have to work with what you have. Home is a great place because you can change it to be more sensual. Lower the lights. Use candle lights instead of harsh electric lights. Turn off electronics. Play soft music. Usual sensual fabrics. Use sensual fabrics like velvet. Drape over your furniture. Burn incense and candles with seductive scents such as vanilla, cherry, and jasmine. God, it's so pathetic. You want to create an environment that inspires lust in your subject. A comfortable, gentle, and soft environment that smells good is the best kind of environment. You also want to minimize distractions and things that aren't very sexy. For instance, you might not have the best luck getting laid if a gross show like Jackass is playing on the TV, or if you have to keep talking or taking calls for work. You want to cut off the TV, put your phone on silent, and tell people not to bother you. This enables you to focus on the other person and prevent unappealing intrusions on your seduction. It's just common sense. Appeal to his or her senses. You want to look and smell good to appeal to other people. This is why prostitutes wear very revealing outfits in order to use their skin to put sex onto the minds of the potential customers. You don't need to reveal lots of skin, but you should make yourself as visually appealing as possible. Good hygiene is also important, as is wearing quality perfume and cologne. Dress well, wear a flattering haircut, and maintain your facial hair if you have any. You should also use your voice to appeal to his or her senses. Women tend to prefer deeper voices, while men prefer higher pitched voices. Music and other sound can also be used to create a sense of a sensual and relaxing environment. Use touch to stimulate his or her senses. A soft blanket used as a couch throw can stimulate him or her to relax, for instance. Tease him or her. A series of sexual hints is a great way to inject the idea of sex and romance into someone's brain. When you are seducing someone, you want to put on the moves and create very sexual atmosphere through teasing and hinting, and using subtle moves and looks. You can start to put the idea of sex onto his or her mind. One trick is to stroke things. Stroke the straw you are drinking through with your thumb and forefinger. Stroke the neck of a beer bottle. Another trick is to use your tongue and gently lick your straw. These moves are very sensual and can inject the idea into his or her mind. We're pretty pathetic, aren't we? I have to be honest. This a sensual message without sex, naked cuddling, oral sex are fascinating ways to tease someone if you don't have him or her sex immediately, but provide him or her with sexual pleasure. Then you will make him or her want to come back for more. Provide an amazing time and promise of more good times to come. You can also tease him or her with a little jokes and jabs. Make sexual references or jokes. Tease him or her by promising sex but never quite delivering. You want to keep your subject on his or her toes. Use touch. Gently touch him or her and can also heighten the mood. Just subtly place your hand over his or hers during conversation. Gently touch the small of his or her back when he comes up, and put your arm around his or her shoulder. Let your hand linger for a minute while making intense eye contact. When you first shake his or her hand during an introduction, when you are handing someone something such as change, let your fingers linger over his or hers. It sounds creepy. Clasp her hands to emphasize the point. Touch her neck while complimenting her necklace, and let your fingers slide down the chain and tinkling her skin, and draw your fingers through his or her hair. Certain areas of the human body are particularly sensitive to touch. These areas include the small of the back, the hands, the feet, neck, earlobe, the underside of arms. Touching these areas will cause almost immediate arousal. A physical touch will make him or her want to experience more. It will also create a bond very quickly and will strengthen sexual attraction. Use touch to cement that bond. Speak shamelessly. Being shy is not so attractive as being a shameless bad boy or bad girl. Boldness and directness will often win you way more success in the act of seduction than being demure. You want to be bold and shameless, even a little ribble. I don't know what the hell that word is. He's starting to throw some shit in here. Okay. Let's see. What the hell that means. Let's see what the French word demure means, anyways. First.
Demure.
Demure. I guess demure. Alright. Why? Oh, I want to know why. Demure. Reserved or modest. Okay, so demure. So the next thing is this one right here. For some reason, it's a word. Well, I never seen it before. So what the hell? Ribble. Ribbled. What the hell is ribbled? I never read. Maybe I heard it before, but I just.
Ribbled.
What the hell is ribbled? Even a little ribbled. Ribbled means vulgar. Okay. Indecent ribbled. Man, that was ribbled. Man, you're a ribbled dude. Vulgar, indecent, lewd in speech. Ribbled. Never heard of it. Never heard anybody even use it. Till now. You want to create shock in your subject, which will also create sexual attraction. Going after what you want is an appealing quality that will attract others. Actually, you have to be young too and all that. I mean, I'm 56 and I'm like, just thinking about this stuff now at my age. Talk about a creeper, and I ain't gonna do this shit. I mean, if it was 20 years ago, maybe, even not today. It's great. It's a great idea to tell just tell the person that you want to make love to him or her. Of course, you want to set this up over time by creating an atmosphere. But once he or she is ready to already hooked, and can't stop giggling at your jokes. I was trying to tell my son he had learn jokes. He can't get him to do that. They're going to end up like me, have no jokes in them. Touching themselves and leaning into you, and you can work. And you can work in explicit details about what you want to do to him or her. You can also tell dirty jokes and drop sexual innuendos. People might swat at you and call you inappropriate, but you are putting sex into their minds. They will also love how shameless and dirty you are, even if they pretend not to. Your boldness will be like icing on the cake. Chapter 10. Create a foolproof facade. If you are using dark psychology, then you have a dark side. You don't feel bad. All people have a dark side. Some people just suppress that side and don't explore all of the power that it has to offer. You, on the other hand, have decided to explore it, even enrich your dark side. Many benefits await you. Human beings are naturally ruthlessly competitive creatures. The only ones who succeed are people. It all depends what you mean success is, though. That's other things. Are ruthless competitive creatures. The only ones who succeed are people who are willing to violate morals and ethics to get to the top. So this is just to me, yeah, you're in this soul trap matrix. That is just, it clears that. But if you don't want this place and you don't want to come back, then you have to go the other direction. You have to. You have to fight the urge to be a son of a bitch. You do. So what? I mean, what do they really have? When you look at the people at the very top, what do they really have? All they have is a bigger box. More debt, more confusion. They might have a hotter chick. But do you know, as anybody's been on the block, look, I've made love with hot chicks before. It was great at the time. But that time wears thin or wears out, and then you have to deal with the rest of it. I'm so much happier being by myself. Maybe you're a different person, but I love my isolation. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to be a part of the rat race. There's nothing appealing about it. But we have to understand that this is how, maybe this is who you are, first of all, and maybe this is what you want. And so here you go. Here's some ideas, and or maybe it's a time to reflect and see who you are, and what people are around you, and to be honest about it. These kind of conversations we don't have very much, do we? I never had it that way. We did have a lot of gossip about blaming other people, but really being ruthless like this and this dark psychology bullshit, it goes on all the time. People just don't. He just put a name to it, a label to it. That's all. He's talking about everyday human behavior, and it really sucks. I mean, most people just fucking suck. I mean, to be honest, they just fucking suck. Okay, you and I have decided to explore and even enrich your dark side. Many benefits await you. Human beings are naturally ruthless, competitive creatures. The only ones who succeed are people who are willing to violate morals and ethics to get to the top. Now you have decided to do this. You will get to the top too. You will only fall behind and lose at life if you don't become cutthroat and shameless about going after what you want. But in our society, we have to at least pretend to follow the current social codes of morals and ethics. Otherwise, people will judge you harshly and avoid us. They won't be as willing to like you and to help you out. Our dark psychology training will no longer work if people start to dislike you and avoid you. Therefore, you must create a facade that totally obscures your dark side. You must hide behind an elaborate and beautiful facade to fool people into liking and trusting you. It is the only way to get away with dark psychology. So how do you create this lovely, warming facade that fools the world? How are you supposed to look to others? How do you hide what you are really up to? How do you make people believe that you mean only the best? And that you are not ruthless and self-serving? Well, deception is part of it, but so is denial, and so is confidence. You can create a very convincing facade if you blend these three elements into your outward projection of yourself. A facade so convincing that you will have everyone fooled. Deception. It's until they know you. See, that's the thing. It's good. It works in the initial stages, but then you have to. You come along. You come along, and people are going to see it. It's okay to lie about yourself and present yourself deceptively if it builds your image. You can use deception to make yourself look good to others. Just make sure that your lies are not blatant. You want to mislead people by making yourself look good. I'm thinking right now of a used car salesman or a real estate agent. But you don't want to have to lie and look pathetic should you get found out. Always tell at least most of the truth when you talk about yourself. Very few people tell the truth about anything. Let's say you are on a date. You want to make the best impression about you, but you don't have a great job. You don't want to lie outright, but but your job. Okay, I was trying to say you don't want to lie outright about your job, as you might get caught. Instead, talk up your job and use words that exaggerate the importance of your position. It's making me sick to my stomach reading this. But this is how people think. This is the resume. Focus on your strengths when you speak about yourselves too. Try to show off your strengths. Don't show off your weaknesses. Downplay your weaknesses to make yourself look better. The better your outward image is, the more positive of a character you appear to have, the more people will like you. Then you will have better luck with people. Denial. Denial can help you appear innocent. There are many aspects to denial. You should combine deception and denial in order to fool people into thinking that you are incapable of wrongdoing. In the chapter on manipulation, we talked about the victim card. This is a good one to play. Deny that you have ever done wrong and pretend to be an innocent victim and to justify your actions. You can also pretend that you didn't know what you did was wrong. You can make an honest mistake. Now you're repenting and consumed with guilt. Deny that you are immoral and pretend that to be the grieving sinner. People will feel that you have a good heart even if you have messed up in the past. They will forgive you and admire you for your brevity. These guys, I'm just thinking of all the scumbags I've known in my life. He's describing all the scumbags and bitches in my life, and it's like, oh, fuck. The same, what he's describing is this: if I would run across another one of these people, that's why I avoid the public pretty much these days. I don't want to run across these people anymore. I'm not interested in the bullshit. I'm not interested in the facade. I find this whole game, this life, is to be the biggest pile of joke that was ever designed by the Dave Mirrors and these archonic forces. We're running around like a bunch of clowns. A bunch of pig heads with painted clown faces. Anyways, you can also just flatly deny that you have done what others say about you. Act shocked when you hear stories about yourself. Then tell the people some stories of your own discredited to discredit those who talk badly about you, and deny that you had any involvement in any wrongdoing in the past. Or you do the best thing, and what I think is, just stop being a fake. Stop being phony. You know what I mean? What he calls friends is what he's saying. He should be saying false acquaintances and associates. People that will soon leave you the moment, the gravy train is, what is it, when the gravy train runs dry or whatever the hell the phrase is. Anyways, it's just a waste of time. The best thing to do is just fill your mind with knowledge and truth, and stop interacting with a bunch of scumbags. A bunch of rambling, talking heads that have nothing to say. Hot air coming out both ends. The clown show is ridiculous. I'm so uninterested to being part of the clown show. I'm so happy that I am, like I said, you go along with the crowd. I'm going to go talk to that tree, because I know for a fact from after 55 years of living, that tree's going to tell me more of this was worthwhile than that crowd. Just saying. Confidence is the key to creating an innocent and believable facade. In fact, confidence is the key to getting others to like you. People are attracted by those who possess healthy confidence and ego. If you project confidence, you will draw people to you, and then your facade will definitely work. You have noticed that vain and narcissistic people are usually the most popular and well liked. That's the percent. No, that's. It doesn't mean anything though. So what? So what? So you got 20 people, crazy asses, hanging out with you. That doesn't mean shit. Oh, well, self-preservation. Outside of that, you're exploiting, using them, and them using you. I just find what's really fascinating is how humanity just loves it, accepts it, embraces it. And why can't I do that? It's against my morals, my ethics. I don't want to be in a group of fucking phonies. All of, their Chester K smiles and all the bullshit and hot air coming out of their mouths. It's so boring. I can't stand it. This is because they are totally confident and don't let others ruffle their feathers. Basically, they have such thick skin that nothing can stir up their insecurities. They are bold and full of bullshit, and passionate about what they are and what they want. They need to become this. You need to become this way. Confidence is not just something that you must possess. You can fake it. Faking it will actually make you confident over time. That's terrible. And you can convince others that you possess lots of confidence, even if you really don't. Start acting confident, eh? It all lies in body language and speech. If you walk with a straight spine, look people in the eye, speak first, you'll appear far more confident. And you should also speak very directly and avoid stuttering and being inarticulate. Doing this will make you appear like you have nothing to hide and nothing to be ashamed of, which will inspire trust and admiration in others. Oh my God, it makes me sick. My stomach grins. This is partly why confidence is so attractive. You may also establish dominance over others by being confident, which gives you that authoritative edge that is so beneficial in persuasion. You could also take being confident a bit further. Being cocky, it may go against your nature. Blah 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 blah. Your sense of modesty, it's really the best way to charm people. Yes, people claim that they are put off by cocky people, yet look who gets the most women and men. Being cocky is not the same as being confident, but it can work for you. Putting on a charming, cocky facade is a great way to make people feel attracted to you. They won't know why, and they will feel inexplicably drawn to your savvy and vain nature. Be sure that to brag about yourself while also complimenting others. Shamelessly talk to people, forcing your nature on them, and never take a no for an answer. God, I know the number of guys I know do that too. And you know what I know about them today? Same age. They're fucking dead, or they're fucking in worse shape than I am. So, yeah, I guess they had that moment that playing in the role, and I watched it, and I was like, I lost a shitload of respect over people watching it, especially women. After watching all the things that I've in the first 20, 30 years of my life of how cocky, dumb assholes were getting women, I realized there was women. Oh my God! First of all, they seem to be more sexual than men, and secondly, as that's all it takes, they weren't worth keeping. So you know what? Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. That's how I saw it. The only thing you were worth is to me was to get my rocks off. Which, by the way, Rosie Palm could have done the same damn thing. So in the end, it wasn't worth it. And I didn't know if I wasn't going to put any money into it. That's what was my attitude. And people say, well, you see, that's where you're at. No. The reason I'm at is because of something completely different. See, I decided to be authentic. And in this world, if you're trying to be truly authentic, do your own thing, you stand out like a sore thumb. And guess what? There's the power out there and people out there. They used to be called the brown shirts. Now they wear like brown pants. All right? And they're part of this huge religious political organization that dominates here in the United States, and they don't want individuality. And if you truly are an individual, they'll find some way to take you out. And that's what they did to me. And they done that to thousands of other people. Thousands of other people that don't know what exactly happened to them or why it happened to them. But I do, because I put a lot of time trying to figure it out. If this world was really that encouraging for you to be an individual, there'd be so much more diversity in art and music right now. There would be pubs and there would be bars and there would be all sorts of places that play music and art. And if you just pay attention to what's gone on in the past 20 years, what little they had to 2000, it's down to something like a tenth of what it was. A tenth. They're slowly drawing the noose around each and one of our necks. So go ahead. Fuck each other. Who cares? Lie to each other. Congratulations. You've done the same thing that billions of other people have done before you. It's not something to be proud of, in my book. Don't even speak doubtfully or belittle yourself. Confidence also helps you justify what you do to yourself. If you believe that you are a great person who deserves the best, then there is nothing wrong with what you are doing to others, then you won't give any of your secret, dark side out of guilt, doubt, and hesitation. You will simply act on your desires boldly and shamelessly.
Take a shower.
Yes, sir. I said, yes, sir. You will think that you are doing nothing, and thus you will act like you are doing nothing wrong. Shockingly, people will believe you more often than not if you act like you are in the right. That's because most people, what he's trying to say nicely is most people are dumb as fuck. Conclusion. Thank God we only got 10 more pages of this nasty book. But we need to learn, I think we need to talk about this once in a while. Now you have reached the end of the Dark Psychology 202. Was it what you expected? Whether you realized it or not, you have just read some extremely empowering tips on gaining control over others. Nothing can stop you now. You are destined to get whatever you want from whomever you want. But it doesn't say this fellow human being doesn't think very highly of other human beings. That's for sure. If it were that easy to be manipulated, but that might be the brutal truth. Other people often pose hurdles to us. They may try to hurt us. They might lie to us or detect our lies and try to get us in trouble. They may say no to something that you really want or need, but dark psychology allows you to plow through the blockages and hurdles that others create so that you can get anything that you want. You now know how to get your way, no matter what anyone tries to tell you. You now have a free access card to enter the minds of others. You have the power to plant ideas into others' minds and to persuade people to give you your way. You also have the ability to achieve anything you want with others. People won't be able to say no or hide things from you. They will be unable to resist your powers. These are pretty high claims here. Above all, you have power over your enemies. You can destroy people without going to jail. You can win power wars and make your way up to at work. If someone is bullying you, you can end it once and for all and gain their respect. You can get your way if you are able to shamelessly beat down others and climb to the top. Pathetic. The best of all, you have the power to befriend and seduce anyone. Imagine what doors you can unlock by knowing the right people. In this world, it's not about what you know, it's rather who you know. Knowing the right people is not helpful, however, unless people like you. And when people like you, they will do anything for you. They will also create a reputation that makes you will also create a reputation that makes others like and trust you. And when you have this reputation, people won't usually stand in your way. If someone does well, you now know what to do to work around this difficult person. You need to lie. You need to know how to lie without getting caught. Using the tricks contained in chapter 7, you'll be the best liar around. I mean, that's pretty much what this world's about. It's about being the best liar. It's really pathetic. You could even fool the FBI expert who can read liars from a mile away. This means that you will no longer get caught in lies, and you can deceive or to trick anyone else. You can also cover your tracks. You can also learn how to be very stealthy and discreet. No one will be able to catch you using dark psychology. People also won't be able to catch you if you do something wrong. You are the king or queen of the covert. You can get away with anything. Knowledge is powerful. Your knowledge of dark psychology is something that most people won't want you to have. You can use this knowledge to become an absolute monster if you so choose. Hopefully you will use your conscience and avoid employing these methods for evil. Instead, you will use these methods for good. You will become a ninja at getting your way, and you will always have the good intentions. You can use these methods to build healthier relationships, bring about organizational change at work, influence people to do right rather than wrong. You don't have to use them for evil purposes, to destroy lives with them. Of course, it is entirely up to you how you use what you have learned in this book. However, you choose to use this knowledge, you now have a lot of power over others. You can get your way in any situation with any person. You can influence and change people, molding them into your slaves, metaphorically and literally. You can change your life and pave the way to your own success. How you choose to use this power really affects your karma, so be careful. Also, make sure to always be stealthy. No one likes to be manipulated or controlled mentally, and no one will like you if you are a known manipulator. You can lose a lot of people if you reveal your hand. Be extremely stealthy using the methods covered in chapter 8 and 10. Don't overdo it, and use this method when you don't have to. The less that you employ dark psychology, the least likely you will ever. Okay, let's try this. The least that you employ dark psychology, the least likely you will ever be found out. Hide who you really are and what you are really up to at all times when using dark psychology. Stealth is a key to making dark psychology work properly. Dark psychology is really a last resort if you can get your way by just asking, then do so. These powerful methods should only be used when you absolutely must use them. Using them to touch too much can make their powers wear out. It's also opens you up to the risk of being found out. Even if you practice stealth, people will realize that they can't say no to you, and they will become scared and start to avoid you. You want to keep these methods in your back pocket, only wipe them out when there is no way to try other methods first. Before you bust out dark psychology, with these final words of advice, it is time for us to part ways. Thank you for reading, and your life will change forever now that you possess these tools for unlimited power over others, and use this power wisely and make your life what you want. And then talk about the other books. Other books available by Michael Pace on Kindle. And it says The Dark Psychology 101. And then there's they break down what that is. Dark NLP. Dark Seduction. Methods of Persuasion. And I'm so glad I'm done with this book. That book made me feel dirty. It made me feel dirty. You have just picked up the most powerful, life-changing book in the world. By the end of it, is this from himself? Yeah, it is from himself. So, that's at least the author thinks so. By the end of this book, your way of life will be completely different. You will have more power over other people than you ever expected. No one will be able to say no to you. You won't ever lose a battle or argue again. You will be able to get whatever you want and to change people as you see fit. Basically, this book will make you a god. Are you ready for this kind of power? Dark Psychology 202 is follow-up to the hit book Dark Psychology 101. And this guy's, talk about being manipulative. What the hell? But this is what people are. So what the heck? You will learn even more advanced techniques for psychological warfare, mind control, manipulation, persuasion, dark CP, deception, seduction, and blah, blah, blah. No one will be able to stop you now. Whether you use these dark methods for good or evil is up to you. Certainly, these methods are not light. They are not jokes. You will have a lot of lethal power by the time you set this book down. So carefully consider how you want to use this power and what your motives are. Life is a game. The better moves you know, the more likely you are to win at it. You can use this book as a playbook and how to win at life. Be ruthless. Don't feel guilty for using the power that you gained from Dark Psychology 202. You deserve whatever you desire. So it's true. What he's saying, that's a big part of the magic of deception. So, and there we go. And I'm done with this as Dark Psychology 202. It was a worthwhile read. And like I said, like he says, and I agree with it, it's up to you how you use it. And at least, and there's another aspect that he didn't talk much about, and that is how you can read other people, what they're up to, how dark they are, how they're trying to manipulate you. So, all right, guys, we got that done. What will be the next